In this episode of Texpos, we are going to be taking a look at the Stephen A. Smith Show. Stephen A. is a widely known media personality, and he's also dabbing into other types of content as well, such as politics and current events. So, this setup that we're going to be looking at is actually one of many different setups he actually creates his content in, but this is going to be the easiest one to actually replicate if you're looking to do something very similar. Let's dive into it. Now, if we first take a look here at the overall background here, we see it's a purple blue type of graphic. And this is because this particular studio, I believe, is a green screen based studio. Now, this is where multiple people actually could come in and record content. Being that it's a green screen, you can put anything in the background, and the setup allows people to just literally come, sit down, hit record, look at the camera, and have the next person come in and do the exact same thing, with a lot of the technicals pretty much eliminated from what you have to do when you want to start recording the content. Now, if we take a look specifically around his shoulders and his head area, we can see that this green screen is actually lit pretty well. Being that he is in TV, he definitely has the resources to work with people that are professional in lighting. If you have a green screen and it is poorly lit, you will definitely be able to see it. You would see green around the shoulders, and typically we see a lot of green around the head area in a poorly lit green screen situation. Now, one of the ways that you can actually prevent that green from showing up on the edges is to actually not use a green screen. If you don't use a green screen and just use a plain back wall, you could just use some RGB lighting and create a really good effect there as well. You won't have that custom graphic behind you, but it will look a lot better than a poorly lit green screen. So, great job here on the actual background in this type of situation. Now, if we take a look at the remaining background elements here before we dive into the tech, we see in the upper left-hand corner, we have the Stephen A. Smith Show graphic here. So that is his branding, so that's nice to have. And then in the upper right-hand corner here, we have the Sirius XM graphic as well, because he creates content for Sirius XM. So we have a really simple setup going on here that's not too much distraction, with just two graphics and him in the center. Now let's take a look at the tech side of what he has here at this particular stage of this video. Now we have the Shure boom arm here, and we have the Shure microphone. Now this setup should look pretty familiar, because guess what? I'm using the exact same setup. Now my microphone is the updated version that he's using, but I am using the Shure microphone boom arm, and I like using the Shure SM7DB. This is the newest version of the microphone. And using the combination from manufacturers together, I think, is just the smart move. So I'm using a Shure microphone and a Shure boom arm. If you want to interchange with a different boom arm or a different microphone, you could. But I just like the consistency, because I just believe certain things are made to work together. And if a manufacturer is building a boom arm and a microphone, chances are I should be using them together. So very simple setup here, high quality setup here. I'm using the same setup, so I'll put a link in the description if you actually want to check these out, and just some of the other equipment ideas that you can use to create your own content as well. So we have the microphone, we have good audio, and we also are looking down at the very bottom here of the screen here, and it looks like he's using a MacBook laptop, probably a MacBook Pro, I would assume, but it definitely looks like a MacBook just by the curvature and the color schema of that laptop in the bottom. A very simple setup. Now, as we play this video, I want you to see, or pay attention to rather, his eyes. Look where his eyes are looking.
To the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over the airways of Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. The number to call up as always is 888 Mad Dog 6. It's 888 Mad Dog 6. That's 888-623-3646. 888-623-3646. As always, if you want to send in your voicemail messages, you can go to SiriusXM.com/GetSerious to send in those voicemail messages. Once again, that's SiriusXM.com/GetSerious. Got a jam-packed show coming your way. A lot of topics to tackle, to get into. or whatever one of them has saddened me, is hurting my heart to even touch.
Now, you see there for the most part, he didn't really look at the camera yet. Now, because he's actually doing this on radio, by not looking at the camera, this does give him that mentality space to actually focus on that script read he has to do, making sure that he says the number correctly, where people are listening to. Like, he's on radio as well. And this is why I'm a huge proponent of just recording everything on video. Even though he is doing a radio broadcast, he's recording the video of it as well. And because he's recording the video of it, he's able to put it on YouTube and get compensated from that platform additionally. So just because you want to do an audio only version of your podcast, please consider just hitting that record button as well and repurposing that content, because on this particular video, if we look, we see that 17,000 views have been viewed on this video. So as we continue on, he actually does look at the camera because he does know the camera is in front of him. Obviously, he's being on TV. He knows how to look at a camera and look straight on at that camera. Let's fast forward a little bit here as well, because I do want to take a look at some additional elements here, one of which being the lower third graphics. So as we see here in the bottom section of this video, we have his lower third graphic. And one of the reasons that this is called a lower third is because it actually fits in the lower third quadrant of the video. So if we were to split this video into three evenly positioned sections, the lower third of it is what we have that text and that graphic image in, and that actually looks really clean. As you can see, there's no fancy fonts down here, so clean, easy to read fonts is the key to all of your text on screen. As we continue to go forward and look at some of the graphics, one of the ones that I really like is the fact that he uses this picture-in-picture graphic quite a few times. So here we have the picture-in-picture graphic of Stephen A. on the left and his subject, what he's talking about, on the right, which happens to be Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as you can see, I want you to pay attention to the actual graphic overlay. You still have Stephen A. Smith in camera in the center of his frame, but we have this nice frame curvature going around his face here, right? And on the same thing going on the right hand side. So we have this nice curvature graphic going around, a nice 16 by 9 and a 9 by 16 image essentially of this other graphic on the other side. You can easily make this type of graphic look this good using a software called ECAMM, and I'll link to that in the description. And this is another reason why I think he's using a Mac and I think he's using ECAMM to produce this, is because they're very simple to do this for everyday people like ourselves. Underneath here, we have his graphic showing again, right? Stephen A. Smith show. But what you notice is there's also plenty of space right here. So if he wants to bring back in a lower third on the bottom to describe what's going on in this segment, it's so much easier to do this because the graphic is already created in a way to do so. Great idea to take away if you are producing graphics for a show that you're creating. Now, another one that we can look at here is the full screen of it here. So rather than Stephen A. being on screen here, we have a full screen of what he's talking about. Graphic looks really good, really clean as well. Now, if you want a little secret, using a full screen graphic also gives you a second to get off camera. If you need a sip of water, if you need a break, if you need to just not be seen on camera, if you need to adjust something on you, using a full screen graphic is a great little hack to get off that camera screen just for a second before you have to come back on. So definitely something that you can take away. As I skip ahead here a little bit further in his show, again, we have that same graphical layout. Again, we have that same space at the bottom, which gives him the ability to put on those lower thirds, okay? So this is one of many different studio sets that Stephen A. Smith uses. If you want to see more, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, because we will definitely tech expose those as well. And if there's somebody else you want to tech expose, put that in the comment section so we can take a look at their setup, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.